This is a Tesla supercharger station. Whether you own a Tesla or in fact any electric vehicle, you've almost certainly seen one before. And in the early days of our modern electric vehicle age, they set the standard for what charging an electric car on the road could be like. And I think it's about to go through a massive change that will benefit every single electric car owner in North America and possibly the world. Stick around and I'll tell you more.
When the Tesla Model S was first introduced, the only other cars in North America that could fast charge were certain optioned models of the Nissan Leaf and Mitsubishi i-MiEV, both of which used the CHAdeMO charging standard, which was big and clunky, as well as pretty slow to charge, although the latest version of CHAdeMO is as quick as some other standards. More importantly perhaps, the CHAdeMO standard can't support AC charging, such as one would do at home, so those cars had two separate charging inlets, CHAdeMO for DC and J1772 for AC.
Tesla threw all that out the window with the introduction of its second proprietary charging connector. Its first, incidentally, being the Roadster connector, which didn't support DC rapid charging. With the Model S came a new connector, which was small, sleek, integrated both AC and DC charging, and could support faster charging speeds than CHAdeMO could at the time. Dayenu.
But Tesla didn't stop there. By taking advantage of the walled garden created by using a proprietary system, and combined with its software acumen and ground-up approach, the company built the first streamlined plug-and charge system.
All of those features combined to set the standard for what charging an EV could, and in fact should, be like.
Today, the supercharger network is one of the pillars that support the trillion-dollar EV manufacturer, which has, in less than a decade, gone from a plucky startup 18 years ago to one of the most powerful and influential automotive companies on Earth today.
But, in no small part thanks to Tesla, the EV charging landscape today isn't what it was when the Model S was first introduced 10 years ago. Outside of Japan, which remains steadfastly loyal to CHAdeMO, and China, where the GBT standard is dominant, today there are two rapid charging standards for the majority of electric vehicles, the Tesla charging connector and the combined charging system or CCS connector, which confusingly comes in two slightly different flavors, CCS1 in North America and CCS2 in Europe. I could go into the technical differences between the two connectors, but the important bit is that the North American plug, which lacks three-phase ability, is just a slightly cut-down version of the European one.
When the Tesla Model S first launched in Europe, EU regulations forced Tesla to abandon the proprietary charging connector it had used in North America and instead use the Type 2 or Mennekes inlet that was standard on all European-made EVs. But while it has its advantages, the Type 2 charging connector wasn't natively suited to DC fast charging. So Tesla modified it and did some clever technical switching within the car to allow the Type 2 inlet to supercharge.
That meant that Tesla cars could charge an AC at almost any European Level 2 charging station, but non-Teslas couldn't supercharge. And when DC connectors were added to the Type 2 Mennekes plug to create CCS Type 2 for non-Tesla vehicles, Tesla cars couldn't DC fast charge anywhere but a supercharger station. I'll be honest, my British boss only just explained all this to me yesterday. It took diagrams and I'm still a bit confused over the whole thing, which from where I stand looks to have been a whole confusing mess with little gain for anyone. It makes me feel a bit better to know I'm not the only one though, as non-Tesla owners were known to get their cars stuck at supercharger stations after they tried to plug in and charge, only to find that Tesla's oh so slightly different connector meant that while they could get the supercharger plug into their Type 2 port, it wouldn't charge, and then often didn't release properly.
But that's changed in recent years, with Tesla having shifted to producing its vehicles for Europe, Australia and some other markets, with the same CCS2 charging inlet found on its rivals' electric vehicles. This enabled Tesla cars to not only charge at Tesla superchargers, but also at any other DC fast charging station as well, making Teslas the most versatile cars one could buy in terms of rapid charging access. This also meant that Tesla needed to update its superchargers with CCS2, and double-headed Tesla proprietary and CCS2 supercharger stations became a common sight.
Here in North America though, Tesla has resolutely stuck with the inlet design it launched with the Model S. Now however, there are reasons to think Tesla may be considering a similar move to CCS in North America. As of filming, that's not something that's been declared by the company, but there are some interesting consequences of such a move if Tesla chooses to make it. For starters, here are some reasons I think Tesla may switch to CCS in North America. In terms of action we've seen from the company, there's the fact that Tesla has finally readied a CCS Type 1 to Tesla adapter to allow Tesla to charge off North American CCS charging stations. Tesla's also dropped the cost of the adapter that lets Tesla owners charge at J1772 AC charging stations. If you've seen the video I did about life with my family's Model 3, which I'll link to below, I talk about using this adapter to charge off our EVSE, which wasn't set up for Teslas. And continue with the hardware theme, Tesla also just released a new version of its second generation home charging station with a J1772 plug on it instead of the standard Tesla one. I think this is the first time Tesla has offered a Tesla branded charging station that non-Teslas can use without requiring the use of a third-party adapter. No Teslas currently on the market can charge natively from that unit.
Elon Musk has also hinted at plans to open up the supercharger network to non-Tesla EVs in North America, something it's already begun pilot testing in parts of Europe, where of course that's much easier due to many superchargers already featuring CCS connectors. There are several pressures driving Tesla to open up the supercharger network, from regulatory changes in Europe to EV grants and incentives in the USA that only go to brand-agnostic charging infrastructure, to the wider pool of charging customers Tesla can reach if drivers of other EVs can use its quick charging stations. While there's been a great deal of theorizing about how Tesla plans to adapt non-Tesla EVs to the supercharger network, simply having some superchargers equipped with CCS connectors could be an easy and obvious option in North America.
In addition, as other manufacturers continue to roll out plug-and-charge for their CCS-equipped cars, the competition for a seamless charging experience has gotten a lot closer. Owners of older non-Tesla EVs have historically needed a plethora of apps, credit cards on standby, and support numbers on speed dial. But several cars from other brands on sale today use plug-and-charge technology to replicate the Tesla experience, though not all automakers have integrated that standard yet, and not all charging networks have. It's worth noting though that while Tesla's opened up 10 supercharger sites in the Netherlands, at the time of recording this, the supercharger experience for non-Tesla owners is not plug and charge. In a company focused on efficiency and economy at every stage of the production process, switching to CCS for all of its non-Chinese market EVs could simplify everything from sheet metal to standardizing firmware. The minor structural differences between CCS Type 1 and Type 2 complicate that a tiny bit, but it really is a small difference compared to Tesla's proprietary inlet versus CCS. But there's another reason I think Tesla may make this change: speed. And if I'm right, it would represent a major shift in Tesla's relationship to market forces. The top spec Tesla cars can charge at up to 250 kilowatts at a V3 supercharger station like this one. This is frankly incredibly fast, and while my experience is that peak charging speeds don't last terribly long in our Model 3, charge times at a V3 supercharger are satisfyingly quick, at least if your state of charge is pretty low when you plug in.
But on our cross-country road trip this past summer, my husband and I noticed something. The charging handle at a V3 station can get brutally hot. I've talked to quite a few people of this, including some Tesla experts, and the consensus seems to be that while the charging cord is liquid-cooled, the connector itself is simply too small to be cooled as well, and that compact size that I and so many other Tesla owners love doesn't offer all that much insulation either. I'm not saying that's dangerous, but here's the thing. Those V3 superchargers are 100 kilowatts slower than the fastest CCS DC quick charging stations, which operate at 350 kilowatts, and are becoming pretty common. With EVs from companies such as Porsche and Hyundai Kia utilizing 800-volt battery architecture, those more powerful stations are going to be getting used.
Tesla has been making the most of its 250 kilowatt stations. The Model S Plaid can hold the full 250 for a surprisingly long time. But the Tesla proprietary connector delivering 250 kilowatts may be at the limit of what it can do. After all, that is a charge rate that was frankly unimaginable when the standard was developed. If that's a consideration, and I can already hear angry commenters saying that it isn't, it would represent a dramatic shift in Tesla's relationship to the EV marketplace. For the last decade, Tesla has always led, and everyone else has been playing catch-up. Arguably, that's how Tesla ended up with $1 trillion valuation, and it's certainly how the Model 3 ended up the best-selling car in Europe last month. Not the best-selling EV, the best-selling car, full stop.
But now, we're starting to see other companies producing compelling electric cars that can compete with offerings from Tesla on more than just price. None in the American market have anywhere near the volume that Tesla does, but that's something that can be scaled over time. Just throwing money at the problem won't design you a good EV. You need vision, talent, and commitment for that. But when it comes to ramping up production, well, that's a place where capital expenditure can make all the difference. As CCS charging networks expand across North America, Tesla could be looking to give its American customers the same advantages that its European ones have, being able to charge pretty much anywhere. And perhaps in the future, at speeds beyond the limits of Tesla's proprietary connector.
Again, I read your comments, so I know what you're going to say. That the supercharger network is by far the most comprehensive and fastest EV charging network on the continent. So there's nothing to be gained by opening up access to CCS fast chargers. But I disagree, and there are a few reasons why.
First and foremost, North America is really, really big, and huge swaths of it have very limited fast charging access. Following most major interstate highways, you can go from one coast to another on either the Tesla or CCS network, but leave those highways and charging gets sparse really fast. Even saying with the big highways, there were a few stretches of mine and my husband's cross-country drive where going from one supercharger to another took a couple of hours, and we had to leave with a pretty full state of charge to arrive with a pretty low one in order to make it. If we'd arrived to find that the supercharger we were heading for had malfunctioned or was blocked, we'd have been in real trouble.
Then there's the matter of congestion at superchargers. I know that many Tesla owners are very worried that opening up the supercharger network to non-Teslas will cause backups and lines. But the truth is, that's already a problem just with Tesla vehicles around any major holiday or travel event. If Tesla switched to CCS for its vehicles, that'd make choosing to go to a non-Tesla station an option at busy times, possibly easing some of the congestion at superchargers. Having more choice would be a major boon in getting more people plug-in regardless of what brand they're driving. Expanding who can access the supercharger network expands Tesla's pool of paying customers without laying out more cash other than on network expansion that's already planned for. But if other cars can charge at superchargers and Teslas can't easily charge at CCS stations, that puts us Tesla owners at a disadvantage, the exact opposite of where our European fellows are.
Tesla is spending big money expanding the supercharger network, but it isn't alone anymore. Electrify America, EVgo, and other charging providers are also making big capital investments into creating a robust, continent-wide charging infrastructure. When Tesla set out to prove that electric cars could be sexy, fast, reliable, and just good, it had to create its own network. Nothing out there was anywhere near capable of providing the experience Tesla wanted for its customers. Tesla set out to change the world, and here we are in a very different one than 10 years ago for the driver who wants to get around on electrons. But that may mean that what made sense 10 years ago may not make sense now.
So then, if Tesla was going to drop the proprietary connector in North America, bringing it in line with its European operation, how would that work? Well, first off, Tesla would need to have a good CCS adapter for its hundreds of thousands of existing cars driving around with proprietary charging inlets, which is something it's already done. The new CCS1 to Tesla adapter will be available to order in North America soon, though it can't deliver native charging speeds. Tesla would also likely want to convert some of its existing proprietary superchargers to CCS1, which would take work, but not a ton of it. Superchargers are already designed to have cables or heads replaced, and the rest may be as straightforward as making some software protocol changes. CCS as a standard is already compatible with the plug-and-charge functionality that us Tesla drivers are so fond of. And Tesla has already added CCS to superchargers in Europe, so that technical investment in doing the same thing in the US and Canada is pretty small.
There would need to be some production line changes too, but again, all the sheet metal, port covers, and firmware is already all set from European Tesla production. All that would be needed differently would be the CCS1 charging inlet itself.
And Elon would need to mollify a fan base that's committed to the idea that anything done by other EV manufacturers is inherently inferior. But honestly, I have every faith that he can do that. As a Tesla owner, do I want Tesla to switch to CCS for its North American cars? Meh, not really. I like the compact and easy-to-use Tesla proprietary inlet, and my husband's 2018 Model 3 long-range rear-wheel drive isn't ever going to benefit from more than what a V3 supercharger can deliver. Though we will buy the CCS to Tesla adapter when it comes out, because more options are always a good thing on a road trip. But as an advocate for EV adoption, and someone whose job requires paying close attention to the electric vehicle market, I do think that dropping the proprietary Tesla connector is the right move for the company and its future, as well as for the EV world as a whole, and it's a move I think we'll see Tesla make. So that's it for today, but we want to hear what you think. Do you think Tesla's going to drop its proprietary connector in North America? Would you want to buy a Tesla that could charge both superchargers and CCS DC fast chargers? What should my next pair of glasses look like? Give the video a thumbs up and let us know your thoughts. You can share them below or on a Discord server, which we'll link to in the description. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel and our other channel, Transfer Evolved Take 2, and especially now that we're not making videos every single day, go on and hit that bell so you'll be told when our next video goes live. Thanks on behalf of the entire TE crew go out to the folk on my right for being our $15 to $49 a month patrons. Special thanks to our $50 a month patrons, Joseph Broker, David Janakula, Andrew Martin, Guido Drahota, Brophy Wolf, Michael Goad, Tesla and the Gong, Sean Ueda, Gordon C, Regine Fellows, Anonymous Freak, Jim Burness, Kyle Hodson, Anthony Coates, Ricky Lung, Brian Newton, Laura Sanborn, Rory Litwin, and Denny Hyde. And our deepest gratitude to our $100 Patreon supporters, John Lyons, Marcel Ward, Reggie Watts, Joe Brenzy, JP Fagerback, Will Graylin, Matthew Drobnik, Christopher Lee Jones, Paul Conway, Ellery Hensley, and Ian. Feeling left out? You can join our Patreon at the link below or show us your support through Bitcoin, Ko-fi, or our cool swag store. Links in the description below. Thanks for joining me, and as always, keep evolving!